frantic search is on to find Zahra Baker.
Zahra is hearing impaired, and she has a prosthetic leg.
Police say no one has seen the 10-year-old.
Has seen Zahra.
Didn't even know they had a little girl.
For weeks.
So what are police expecting to find, if not Zahra's remains?
Investigators have discovered a prosthetic leg.
Key piece of evidence.
She lost her hearing in her lower left leg to cancer.
Same.
The prosthetic leg was originally fitted in Australia.
The search for 10-year-old Zahra Baker. Police in Hickory, North Carolina.
It'll take some time to confirm if it's her.
The 10-year-old has not been seen in public since late September.
We have not found her body. Investigators have also uncovered information that led search teams back to the family home in Hickory.
The equipment moved the mulch piles. Investigators with rakes would sift through it. There is no slowing down by investigators now. Everyone is hoping the mystery will be solved soon.
We are taking your calls out to Brenda in North Carolina. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Nancy. I love your show.
Thank you, and thank you for calling in, dear. What's your question?
The question I have, why didn't they give him a polygraph test? Why they had him under arrest?
Brenda, I wish it was that easy. Long story short, you cannot force a target, a suspect, a person of interest to take a polygraph any more than you can force them to give a statement against their interests under the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. While the Constitution doesn't read, you don't have to take a polygraph, it does read, you have the right to remain silent. That has been interpreted over the years in cases to mean that, in addition to not having to speak out against yourself, you don't have to provide any information that incriminates you, such as failing a polygraph. Oh, how I wish it were that easy, Brenda. Nancy in Pennsylvania. Hi, Nancy. What's your question?
Hi, Nancy. I have a question and a couple quick comments.
Okay.
My question is, do we know why the father took her away from Australia in the first place? Because she would have been safer if left there. And my comments are, she had 2 different types of cancer, and it ended up that her cancerous parents, you know, that's how it ended up. And I think this stuff where these people just don't care about their own kids, that's the cancer that finally did her in. And I also hope that the judge eventually says, hi, how are you? Now you're going to get the death penalty.
You know what? We can only pray, Nancy in Pennsylvania. First question goes to Gene Casares, joining us in the field, legal correspondent in session. What do we know, Gene, about why Daddy thought it was in her best interest to rip her away from her grandmother, where she was very happy in Australia?
Nancy, because of Elisa Baker. He had met Elisa Baker, who was from North Carolina, at least living there. She had gone to Australia. They had met on the internet. They dated. And he, Adam Baker, who is an Australian citizen, moved from Australia with Zahra to North Carolina, all because of Elisa Baker.
Oh. And she was so happy with her grandmother, Karen Stark. And Karen, what about this analogy Nancy in Pennsylvania makes, that she fought and was victorious over 2 forms of cancer, bone cancer and lung cancer, which is astounding, really beating the odds. And now the malignancy in the hearts of her parents have done her in.
That is so true, Nancy. Don't you wonder, where is some kind of a maternal instinct, a paternal instinct? People treat their animals better than this girl was treated. There was no attachment. And what about her mother? There has to be a mother out there who allowed her to move across the world. So nobody really was committed to taking care of this little
Karen
girl.
Stark, don't move. Liz, put up the picture you were just showing of little Zahra and her prosthetic leg. There you go. Leave it. Think about it, Karen Stark. Look at the little girl with trying to make one leg look like the other leg, trying to wear tights, trying to put on a little sock and put on her little shoe so she could blend in, so she could, you know, be happy.
Nancy, that's the heartbreak. The heartbreak is that when you look at that leg, somebody actually treated her like she was a doll and ripped her apart. What kind of insanity would allow people to just take her leg? Where is the rest of her body? Did they just separate all of her body? I mean, they couldn't even keep her together. She was so disregarded and uncared for.
You know, the way you put that, and when I'm thinking of what the little girl had to go through every day of her life, you know, tending to her leg. She's been fighting cancer. You know, she's in a weakened state. Getting up every day, trying to, don't you know, she would just like pick out clothes that she thought the leg would not be so obvious in. People, other children, you know how cruel they can be, probably made fun of her. And in every picture, practically every picture,
she's trying.
Smiling.
Yep, she's smiling, and she's also making herself look pretty. Did you notice, Nancy? It's so sad. She has little barrettes in her hair, and she always seems to be playing around with her hair, trying to look pretty. And she dressed like she was trying to look pretty. This is a heartbreaking, horrific story.
You know, every morning, Karen, you know, you've been, you know, Lucy, my little Lucy, very well. You've been around her many times. You know, every morning we have to get sometimes 4 or 5, but usually 2 or 3 barrettes that match the outfit, kind of, and they're all right here, right in the front. And, of course, I think it's beautiful. But I can just imagine, just like you said, Zahra trying to look beautiful. I want to go back to Rupa Michelini. She's standing there outside the home. Rupa, my heart is just broken right now that they are actually in their backyard. They've been back there with backhoes. The lights are still on in the home. The FBI is apparently still in there. What are they after? They know something, Rupa. They knew where to go find that leg, according to Melissa Mallenbrock. They cordoned off a specific area, then they went in and they found the leg. Now they're in the home. That is where the murder happened. I'm just telling you, that's where the murder happened. Then they got rid of the body. By the way, they're digging in that backyard. Was the body dismembered? That's where I'm leaning. What do you know, Rupa?
That's right, Nancy. Just behind me, and I just want to point out, you see this red fire truck. Just, can we get a shot of this right here? Behind this fire truck is actually where the digging took place all day long. The view is hampered now, so we can't see what's going on there. But what we do know is that police and FBI are inside the house. And now let's just take a look over here. You can see a little light peering right here in the house. They are finishing up their search inside the house, Nancy. Earlier on, the house was lit up entirely. Now they're in the back room. I don't know if that room is Zahra's bedroom. I don't know if it's the kitchen. We're not quite sure. It's a little back room. It's the only light in the entire house that's lit right now. And here's what I also know. Today when I was speaking with neighbors, I noticed a pile of split wood, a huge pile of split wood behind this truck. I think that pile is still there, Nancy. And I asked neighbors, did this man, we know he split wood for a living. He was a landscaper, but I asked us, did he do work at home? And the neighbors said yes. From time to time, he worked from his home, and he had a wood cutter or wood splitter, a machine, a mechanism here in the backyard, where he worked from home from time to time. So then we asked the question, could this machine have been used to somehow dismember poor little Zahra?
I want to go to Andrew Scott, former chief of police, Florida, president of AJS Consulting. Weigh in, Andrew. What do you think?
Well, this is a very interesting scenario, and clearly the stepmother has some significant information that is assisting the police and the FBI with this investigation. What troubles me is the fact that the father was released on the bail for such a less amount than you would think, and clearly either they don't have enough information to hold him, and or they are tailing him, and or putting a GPS underneath whatever vehicle he might have to follow his whereabouts. But clearly, I think there's complicity between the two, and it's just a question of corroborating more additional information and obviously finding Zahra.
Well put. Gingasaurus, what is stepmommy's bond? Do we know how much her bond is?
My memory is it's over $90,000, and she had conditions that if she met that bond, her passport would have to be surrendered. Now, with Adam Baker making his bond, I don't remember any conditions about his passport.
You know what, Gene, what's interesting is whoever's got the money, they bonded him out, but not her. So I'm putting money on it that it's his blood relatives out of Australia.
What happened?
Well, if Adam and his family are watching Nancy tonight, I'm sure that they're all going to go outside and look under their vehicles to see if there's a GPS tracking system. now that it has been announced that that is one of the ways that law enforcement would keep a watchful eye out on Adam. Sorry if it comes across sarcastic, but I guess it's meant to be that way.